what would have happened to the captain, groin boy there?
Duddingston.
That one. What would have happened to him if he would have had a Dells and was eating it with a straw at that time? Would there have been a more hostile approach at that point?
It possibly could have been if they thought they were trying to steal his Dells.
Yeah.
And by the way, assaulting a ship of the king or Commander Duddingston himself was almost the same as doing something personal to the king.
Really? Welcome into Carpooling with Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gaspee and the burning thereof was pretty significant in the entire history of the United States. Small story, maybe you'll look it up. But one of the best ways to learn about it is participating in Gaspee Days and joining me of world fame, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he is the Colonel Ron Barnes, Commander of the Pawtuxet Rangers. Sir,
Ben, how are you? Great to see you.
You are in one of the most original Patriots uniforms there ever was.
Yes, this is the original New England Patriots jersey.
I love it. I love it. It's great. I could see Tom Brady trying to flex and throw in that. That'd be tough.
Absolutely.
You guys are in full swing. Of course, you guys participate in a lot of different events, but
Correct.
One of the biggest ones is the entire celebration around the Gaspee Days and its history. So give us the Reader's Digest version, if you will, of the history and then the organization.
Sure. So June 9th, 1772, there was a colonial ship sailing up Narragansett Bay called the Hannah.
Okay.
And there was a British ship called the HMS Gaspee that was pretty disliked, and especially its commander, who was Lieutenant William Duddingston. Very hated by the colonists, was very mean, used to like to board ships and help himself to certain things on the ships.
Okay.
So as the Hannah sails out of Newport and goes up Narragansett Bay, the Gaspee gives chase.
Okay.
Fires a warning shot across the Hannah's bow. The captain of the Hannah was Lindsay, and he knew of a place where there was a sandbar. So his ship being smaller and lighter, he was able to sail right across the sandbar. The Gaspee giving chase, ran aground. Hard aground on the sandbar.
There have been a lot of people who've done that unintentionally in their life.
Absolutely.
Shout out to our good friends over there at Safety who helped them. But nevertheless, that's a story for another day. Continue with the history, good sir.
So the Sloop Hannah goes up into Providence, and they have a meeting at a place called Sabin's Tavern. And they've decided they've had enough and they're going to do something about it. So they get in a bunch of longboats, they row out to the Gaspee, and they basically get up close, and Duddingston comes up on board, and they knock on basically the side, and they say, "I am the Sheriff of Kent. I am here to arrest you." And he basically laughs at them and says, "This is the king's ship. Go away." And one of the gentlemen in the boat says, "Fetch me your musket. I can kill him." And they shoot Duddingston in the groin. Yeah, not very pleasant.
Yikes. Interesting strategy. We'll see if it paid off.
Yes. So they shot Duddingston in the groin. Basically, the rest of the raiding party boarded the Gaspee. They took the crew ashore in Pawtuxet. They dressed Duddingston's wounds. They took him ashore. They basically set fire to the ship. What happens when the fire hits the powder keg? It blows up, and the ship blows up.
And that's where the fireworks come in.
And that's where the fireworks. So the motto that came along in 1965 when they started the first Gaspee celebration was the first blow for freedom. It's one of the first organized acts of aggression towards the British.
There we go. Only a few weeks after the royal wedding, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to celebrate it as we do every year right there. There's a whole myriad of events because Gaspee Days, it's a festival that spans almost an entire month.
Correct. So starting in May, they have a proclamation ceremony that they proclaim Gaspee Days is happening. And that happens to coincide with some walking tours of Pawtuxet Village that the local elementary school does, where they take on the persona of people that live in the village at the time, and they give guided tours around the village.
Yep.
Shortly after that, Memorial Day weekend is the big 3-day Arts and Crafts Festival.
Sure.
And then that goes into the weekend of June 2nd, where we're going to have the Symphony Orchestra and fireworks. And then the actual big Gaspee weekend, which culminates with the parade on Saturday, June 9th. There's a Colonial encampment in Pawtuxet Park, so if people want to come down and see how people lived and slept in tents and cooked over fires, there's also some pirates there we have to deal with. So that happens on the Saturday.
Invites them? Do they get like a Facebook invitation? Is that like an event?
They've been
thing?
known to crash a party or two themselves.
Jerks.
And then on Sunday is the concert in the park, and they have this ceremonial burning of the Gaspee.
This is a wonderful family event because there's literally something for everybody during this whole thing.
Absolutely. It starts Saturday, the Saturday of the parade weekend at 8 o'clock. There's an ecumenical church service, which is very nice. Which leads into the parade, where you'll see everyone from people like us, the Revolutionary War era, Civil War era, all the high school bands, all the floats that people create, usually Clydesdales or some type of march of the horses. So the parade is a spectacle to itself. This is the 53rd year for the parade this year.
Coming up this weekend, if people are watching the weekend this comes out, you have the concert there with the Warwick Symphony Orchestra.
Correct.
And I tell people, listen, if you've got little ones that you want to expose to a little bit of culture, this is the best way to do it because you don't have to worry about them running up and down the aisle of the Veterans Memorial Center or the PPAC.
You can go to Pawtuxet Park, you can lay out a blanket or bring a folding chair, you can bring a picnic.
Yep.
There's a band that performs first. Then the Rangers Fife and Drum Corps is going to play some music while the Symphony Orchestra sets up. So you'll have a chance to hear Colonial fife and drum, a little bit of explanation about how music was important to a company like the Pawtuxet Rangers during the Revolution. You get a little bit of history, and then you get to hear the Symphony Orchestra, and then you get fireworks.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous. The parade itself is I mean, it's like the West Bay's 4th of July.
Correct.
For what Bristol has, you guys have it just as amazing and intricate, and it really is a wonderful event. What time and what's the best viewing areas for the parade?
Everywhere is a great viewing area. It starts on, the whole parade is on Narragansett Parkway, so if people know where Roads on the Pawtuxet is, that's the end of the parade, and it starts down almost to Spring Green near, and if you're from Rhode Island, it's where near something is, so down near the Church of Latter-day Saints down off the Parkway.
Okay, perfect. And what time's the parade step off?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. So get there early.
Yep.
Bring snacks or whatever. There's plenty of great restaurants.
Absolutely.
Grab yourself a Dell's.
Everything.
What would have happened to the captain? Groin boy there.
At Duddingston.
That one. What would have happened to him if he would have had a Dell's and was eating it with a straw at that time? Would there have been a more hostile approach at that point?
It possibly could have been if they thought they were trying to steal his Dells.
Yeah.
And by the way, assaulting a ship of the king or the Commander Duddingston himself was almost the same as doing something personal to the king.
Really?
And for a number of years, they had an inquest to try to find who the people were responsible. Now, let me ask you something, Ben. I'm sure you've had a secret during your life sometime. If I gave you $10, would you tell me what your secret is?
I don't know. It's a small price to pay.
How about if I gave you $500? Would you tell me?
Now we're talking. I mean,
how about if I gave you $5,000? Would you tell me your secret?
Do I up the ante? Is this like Deal or No Deal? What happens?
Well, that's basically what happened. The king offered a rich amount of money to anyone who would tell who burned the Gaspee, and none of them came forward.
Wow.
Until it didn't matter when everybody was on in age and it meant no difference anymore, when basically there were 3 survivors, and Ephraim Bowen being one of the primary ones that wrote his account of the burning of the Gaspee.
The secrecy, that's very impressive.
Yep.
That nobody.
And don't forget, the first blow for freedom, this happened before the little tea party they had up in Boston. It happened before Lexington and Concord. This truly was one of the first acts of organized aggression.
Again, to recap, this upcoming weekend we've got the
This
Warwick
weekend
Symphony
is the Warwick
Orchestra.
Symphony, Saturday night, fireworks, a little bit of a intermission concert with the Fife and Drum Corps.
That's going to be impressive.
Yep. And then next week on Friday, we start putting an encampment up, a Colonial encampment in Pawtuxet Park. Saturday morning is the ecumenical service. The parade at 10 o'clock. People can come down into the camp in the afternoon.
There's a road race
visit.
too, right?
There is a road race for you runners out there. There is a Gaspee, they call it the oldest foot race in America. So there is a road race, and they can find information on that on the Gaspee website.
Wow, fantastic. Awesome. Your group, if people want to learn more specifically about the Pawtuxet Rangers, where can they go to find
Sure,
information?
you can go
about
to
you guys?
www.pawtuxetrangers.com. Real quick, we were chartered in 1774 to protect the village of Pawtuxet.
Yep.
Obviously, with things like the Gaspee happening, things are starting to heat up. The British were starting to make incursions up and down Narragansett Bay, so it was thought that we needed protection within our village. The company was raised, and we actually built a fort in Pawtuxet and manned it during the Revolutionary War.
Wow. And you guys work synonymously with the Gaspee. You guys work together with them and
Absolutely.
put this whole month long of events, or multiple weeks rather. And on a personal note, you're the technology director, because you don't wear this every day.
Correct.
As much as you, I'm sure you'd love to, especially in the warm weather. You're the technology director for HMEA and
Correct.
Tech Access Rhode Island. You guys do amazing work out there. We've talked with various members of your group. Anything new on the HMEA front we should be aware of?
HME is cooking right along. Things are going great. We just had our big 5K walk run, of which Nick, Ron, and Pete were there.
Boys
they
right
always
there on the
support it.
backside, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think we need to do a couch of them in the Pawtuxet Ranger garb.
Absolutely.
Oh!
So the weather
call
held out.
wardrobe.
It was a great day, and it was absolutely a phenomenal event for us again this year. And to all the sponsors and Dell EMC that actually host it on their grounds there in Franklin, it was really another great, incredible day. Is the tagline.
And they do such great work. HMEA does, working with Dell EMC, working to employ some of the people, the very people you serve, in various ways, which, once that program is, runs at full throttle, that is just going to be a tremendous door opening for so many of the people you guys service.
Absolutely.
With the technology, which is constantly changing. It's fun to see you go from the extreme of portraying the lifestyle of the 1700s to you're so futuristic in your day job with the technology.
Correct.
It's awesome. Yep. Well, Colonel.
Yes.
Ron Barnes, of the commander of the Pawtuxet Rangers, sir. Thank you, sir.
I have a little something.
Whoa!
I have a little something for you.
Look at that.
So this is called a challenge coin.
Oh boy.
I don't know if you're familiar with what a challenge coin is.
I am.
So now that I've given you this, and it's a sign of my friendship for you.
Oh, wow.
For those of you that don't know, a challenge coin, if we're out somewhere and I know I've given you this, and I knock, and you're light, you're buying.
That's right.
So Ben,
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank
Look at
you.
that. Thank you. That is fantastic. Wow, that is sharp looking. Thank you so much for
You're
this.
welcome.
Very good. Folks, be sure to check out Gaspee Days. Be sure to check out the Pawtuxet Rangers. And as always, a shout out to our great friends over there at HMEA. Thank you so much. And I think now, with the temperature, the sun up in the sky the way it is, we have to get a Dells.
absolutely.
All right, let's go.